Hi loves, welcome to TT's Urban Pantry. It is soup day in the kitchen. I have already pressure canned some chicken soup, and I actually did it the other week and I have a video for that. I ended up with about the same thing, 4 quarts of chicken soup, and then I canned right along with the soup in the canner 2 quarts of the leftover chicken broth. Right now I have some just plain tomato soup going, and this will be water bath canned. And yes, I'm in my pajamas. It's cold outside. I think it only got up to like 60 degrees here today. The heat is not on. We're not turning it on. My husband sleeps right under the fan. So the back side of the house is super cold and I'm not going nowhere. So I have my pajamas on and his slippers. But the tomato soup has in, the ball recommendation says 42 tomatoes. I have in about 60 Roma tomatoes. I went to the Amish market the other day and got a big box of Roma tomatoes, and that equaled about 35 pounds, I think. And between this soup and the other soup I'm making, I actually counted, and I almost got 60 tomatoes between the 2 of them that I ended up using. Some of them that were at the bottom were kind of nasty, so I did pitch about 5 or 6 of them. But I am canning up just plain tomato soup, and in the ball book, this is called the Vine Ripe tomato soup. So I have about 60 tomatoes here, 1 red pepper, 1 onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and I sauteed the onions and the garlic. Actually ran them through the food processor and chopped them up really fine and sauteed them. And then I have in about 3/4 of this 12-ounce can of tomato paste. About 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, and just salt and pepper to taste. And then I also just put citric acid in all of the jars, so I'm filling this up. I'm not sure how many this is going to make. I have 12 jars ready, so we will see. This is not my first time making tomato soup. I did a roasted tomato soup. Like when I first started doing videos, that was probably one of my first videos, and I never uploaded it, and we never tasted it. It's still down in the pantry. I think that only came to 6 pints, but we've never tasted it. This is not roasted. I just chopped everything up and brought it up to a boil, so it is technically different. With the roasted one I did, that was just tomatoes, onions, garlic, and I did roast all of that together, and I don't remember. I might have put some sugar into it. I really don't remember. Maybe one day I'll upload the video. It's really old though. But this is just regular tomato soup. And we are going to water bath can this for, I don't know. We are going to, it says quart jars. So they only want us to can in quart jars for 40 minutes. You can go down in can sizes and or jar sizes, and then you just have to process for the recommended jar size. So this says quarts. It says 4 quarts. I have here 8 pints and I would have to process those pints at the time of the quart. So they will be in the water bath canner for 40 minutes. Okay, so in this batch, I have the other half of the tomatoes, which is about another 55-60, and I just ran them through the food processor and kind of pureed them down. And then in here I have and I eyeballed it. So I don't know how much I have in there. But Boss says a cup of carrots. Let's see. Ball says, I know a cup of carrots. It says 5 medium onions. I put in 2 medium onions. I was like, that's really oniony. I'm not doing it. 5 stalks of celery. 2 red peppers. I did do the 2 red peppers, and I probably did about 8 stalks of celery. And 3 garlic cloves, and I had already pureed all of that up, knowing that I was going to mix it in here and use the hand blender again to get it all down. So as you can see, it's very chunky, so it's not going to be as liquefied as the other one. I want to stir it some more. And I might add more carrots to it. I don't know. Big chunk of pepper. I'm not sure. Look at that. How it's an onion. How I'm gonna like that. Now, I do know I used my hand blender last time, so maybe I did leave it. I don't remember. Let's season it with some salt and pepper. And I do have a spice bag over here. It has 6 bay leaves and about a half a tablespoon of whole clove. And I put it in, I just laid it all in a little square of cheesecloth and tied it all tight. That way when I'm done with it, I can just pull it all out and we're good to go. You know, this needs some sugar. Much better. Because I pureed it down so much, I am going to add in the last of this tomato paste to it. I want this to be a little bit thicker. And this will need to be pressure canned. We'll check on the time. I don't know what the best method for dissolving tomato paste is. To me, it seems like even if it's boiling and you know, your product is really hot, it should just dissolve. But I don't know. I always just kind of try to get the chunks out this way. I mean, should I be mixing it in with a little bit? Let me know what the best method is to get your tomato paste to dissolve. Okay, so we are going to add in our spice pack. I'm going to bring this up to a boil and then let it simmer for probably 20 minutes or so, just so that flavor of the pack can develop in there, and then we will start to load up the pressure canner. The flavor has developed really nicely, and I like where it's at, and I like how it's thickened up. So we're going to go ahead and throw it in our jars and pressure can it. It needs to be pressure canned for 20 minutes for a pint. Here it is. I'm not adding citric acid because it's going to be pressure canned. And let me see if I can show you one of the jars. Look at that. You can kind of see everything. I hope you can see like the chunks in it and stuff. Very, very good. I have my pressure canner starting to heat up. I already have my 3 quarts of water in it. Each pressure canner is different, so you will need to check your manufacturer's guidelines for that. For mine, any amount of jars that I've pressure can, if it's 1 or a load full, I need 3 quarts. So those are already in there, ready to go. So this concludes Soup Day in the Pantry 2020. These first 10 pints are the spiced tomato soup. They have all sealed, and you can see they are still boiling. Those were pressure canned. Get in there. And then our next tomato soups is just plain tomato soup concoction. That came to 9 pints. And then in the back, we have 4 quarts of the chicken soup that I canned up, and I will put a card up top and a link in the description to that video, and then also 2 jars of broth. Full disclosure, I was being greedy and did not want to use the vegetable broth that I had in the basement, so I had Mr. go and buy vegetable broth, and I greatly disliked it. The flavor of the broth was not the same flavor of the broth that I had made. My vegetable broth versus store-bought vegetable broth, to me, it had a strong onion flavor. So I will not be purchasing store-bought vegetable broth anymore. I will just have to make sure we have enough to use from what I can, and make sure we just have plenty down in the basement, because I did not like it. The look of the chicken is completely different than the look that came off of the broth that I made. That broth was very thick and you could not see through it. The broth that I made had like a clear, nice golden brown tint to it. So I suggest you go back and check out that video just to kind of see the difference. And maybe I'll do a video of this versus that. We'll open them both up and maybe do a blind taste test with Mr. So stay tuned for that. I could definitely do that. But Nope, not going back to store-bought vegetable broth anymore. I strongly dislike it. But thank you for joining me for Soup Day in the Pantry 2020. Hopefully next week I can remember to unthaw the ham in the freezer so I can make some ham and bean soup. Wish me luck.
Thank you for watching TT's Urban Pantry. If you enjoyed this content or was able to learn anything from it, please hit like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos are uploaded. And as always, have a wonderful and blessed day.